dog food here, and like in the middle of the stream, I went over, picked it up, and just started eating dog food in the middle of it. And it's like, what am I doing? Like,
So, I had some errands to run, and I thought it'd be fun to shoot this week's episode intro while I'm driving around. You know, kind of like Sam Sulek style. You know, that big giant bodybuilder on social media who's always driving around and giving fitness advice? And lots of other influencers do as well. I thought it'd be fun to do. Then I got into my truck and realized there was nowhere for me to put my phone while I'm driving. You know, I could put it down like this, and you cannot see anything, but that's not going to work. So I was like, I'm screwed. But I'm already in the truck. I'm already committed to this idea, so I'm going to film it here, stationary, and then I'm going to safely drive to my errands. I'm not going to save any time today, but that's what I do for you. This week's episode is with Ohrion Reacts. His name's Ryan. His YouTube channel is Ohrion Reacts. He shares a lot of great heavy new music. If you're not discovering new heavy music from me, you're probably discovering from this guy because he has it on lockdown. And this episode is special for two reasons. One, because Ryan is awesome. Two, this is the last podcast episode I did in my studio before it flooded, my old studio. So, RIP to that. You know, it's been a couple months now. Hopefully, I'm very hopeful it'll be done very soon. But that just shows you how long ago I recorded that episode. Unfortunately, I had a lot of episodes that I had to get up because of artists I was interviewing, like Caleb last week from Beartooth. His record was coming out that Friday, so I wanted to make sure I got up to coincide with the album release, things like that, you know. So I'm very thankful that Orion's such a good dude, and he was patient enough for me to put this up, and I'm just very excited to get up this week. So hope you enjoy it. So Ohrion Reacts is the channel name across all the boards, but what should I call you? Should I call you Ohrion, or is there like a real name you use?
I mean, Ohrion. I mean, my real name is actually Ryan, so it just kind of goes hands in hand. So you can say Ohrion, but yeah, I'm like that kind of guy that's like, I use everybody's like gamer name kind of thing, like, or their screen name, their YouTube name. So I don't know, like that's just kind of how I am, and I go by Ohrion. Sometimes I'll even call myself Ohrion in real life. I'm like, get out of YouTube world.
Yeah, no, I mean, it becomes like your persona, so it makes sense. Like, you know, especially if you're introducing somebody like at a show or something, or you're talking to somebody like in a musical setting, you're going to be like, oh, I'm Ohrion. Like, instead of saying I'm Ryan, you know, they're like, oh, yeah, you're that dude.
Oh, man, I get it quite a bit. I don't mean to sound like a big-headed or something, but it's kind of weird because they're kind of like, they come up to me and they're like, are you that guy from TikTok? I'm sure you get it all the time at shows. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm like, yeah, I use TikTok.
Yeah, it's funny. I usually get just mostly it's drunken people walking by me at shows. And they're like, TikTok. Like, they don't even say like, are you on TikTok? It's just like pointing at me, TikTok. Like, yep, yeah, I'm on there. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, it's a cool feeling for sure. But I mean, yeah, it's neat. It's neat.
Yeah, where'd the name Ohrion come from? It's just happened to be fit with your name, or was it come from something else?
Honestly, my gamer tag was like Darkstar back in the day, and it kind of got tainted with like my my last marriage. So I like needed like a whole new kind of image kind of thing. So I was just like, I don't want to use it anymore. So yeah, Ohrion just kind of came from like obviously like the blacks, the O's, and the breakdowns that kind of came out. And then when I started doing reactions and that, I just wanted to get back into the metal, and I was like looking for some of those big breakdowns with those callouts of the O's. So I kind of went with like O, and then Ryan. My name's Ryan, and then I love the like Orion's belt and space and stuff like that, aliens and conspiracies and shit. So kind of went with like the Orion's belt. So like Ohrion just kind of happened, and yeah, people kind of think that it's actually my real name is Ohrion because people have that name.
Yeah, it is weird like when you meet somebody online through social media or whatever. And like, especially when it's a name like that, where it almost sounds like a real name, like Ohrion. It almost sounds like it could be your name. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's totally reasonable. Like, I've met plenty of people who do you know Olive on TikTok and Instagram? She does like OnlyFans stuff, but she's also like, you know, a music creator. But her name's Olive on there, and like for like months I thought that was her real name. You know, because like that's a reasonable name. You know,
my mom was eating olives when she had me, and that's what my name was. Yeah,
right. So how'd you get started in content creation? I know you started on. Did you start on YouTube? Was that your first foray into making content?
Yeah, YouTube was more of my forte, I guess. Again, I hate bringing up the past sometimes, but I kind of got into the Twitch world and the gaming world and before all this. So I kind of had a little bit of like editing experience and cameras. I used to do photography back in the day. So that's how I like got into like all the shows that I wanted to see for free. I was like, oh, yeah, let me do photos and the MySpace days. So yeah, I just kind of had that thing, I guess, editing experience. So I started doing my own stuff just to kind of catch up on music. Saw other people kind of doing this before the pandemic, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. This is just a good way for me to catch up on music. And then just kind of went from there and didn't expect it to go the way it did.
Yeah, I mean, dude, your edits are fucking like James Cameron, like Michael Bay style. Like, dude, it is like, it's intense, dude. I love it. Like, when you watch your TikToks, it's like a cinematic masterpiece sometimes.
Oh man, it's so fun doing it. Honestly, I think that's why I like fell in love with doing it. As much as I love the new bands that I'm finding and the reach that I could help them reach, it's just so much fun doing the editing. And now that I have like a guy that's helping me with my edits, and I just recently got an editor, like probably about 3 or 4 months ago ish, it's like it's kind of game changing, and now I can push out more content, which TikTok and all these other platforms want out of it. So it's a lot of fun, and probably like my favorite thing that I'm doing out of this, besides seeing comments from everybody saying like, thanks for finding me new bands, like I wouldn't find any of these bands without you.
Did you find it hard to kind of go hands off and like let someone else handle editing for you, like kind of like, because like that's your baby, like that's your thing, you know, your vision, you know what you want the end product to look like, so to let someone else do it, is that kind of tough sometimes?
Man, it was pretty tough, but like I got over it real fast. I feel like I just needed like the extra help for it. So kind of jumping in with somebody, I think I just threw like a post out there on YouTube. I'm like, hey, who can do editing? And like I wanted specifics because I'm like, I have presets. We can make this really easy, you know, and this one kid, Colin, that I use, he had a little bit of a YouTube channel as well, and big shout out goes to him, and I could not push out as much as I can without him, but he had like a little bit of experience. He's like, all right, he's like, I think I can do what you want. So I like even made like tutorials on like on an edit. So I'll make like an hour-long video. This is how I want it. This is how I do things. So if you can do it in your program too, make presets, make it faster, great. So this kid's like busting out like a bunch of videos, and like he's editing better than I am. It's crazy. Nice. So now I'm like, I don't even want to touch editing anymore. I was like, Colin, here, do this one for me. I'll pay for it and that. And it's been going really solid for that. So it's been very exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah. I hired a video editor myself recently. Once like the podcast started kicking up, you know, I had because I wanted to keep the content churning on, you know, TikTok and Instagram, and like, you know, obviously, you know, just like a 1-minute video can take like 3 hours to edit, you know, and
especially podcasts.
Yeah. So I had to bring somebody on to help me with that. But yeah, it's like, you know the vision, you know what, like, I know the hook that I want, I know like the payoff that I want, I know like the visuals I want. So it's like I'm basically sending this dude the clips, but then I'm also giving him like a script, like here's everything I wanted to follow. It's like almost like I'm doing the job for him at some point, you know.
Oh, that's way good.
I just need you to piece it together, but yeah, he does a great job, and like he does do things that like I don't even think of, like, oh, that is a great idea to throw that, you know, because it's nice to, I think, as you can probably relate, creating in a vacuum sometimes where like you're just bouncing ideas off yourself can be like, it feels like, you know, productive and stuff, but there's a lot of times where it's like, man, you might miss things or miss another perspective because you have no one else to kind of like run this by, you know, and I think that helps having another.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, what you're saying?
I was just saying, like, I totally agree with you. Like, it's just having that extra eyes on there. And, like, I mean, like, I have a few friends, obviously, in the content creation world, and, like, you as well. I mean, we don't really talk about, like, editing styles and stuff like that. It's more of, like, hey, like, check out this band type deal.
Yeah.
But, like, even just, like, talking with, like, people like Metal Burb and stuff and getting ideas and like content creation, I guess, ideas is more the better thing to say about like what I like talking to people about. So yeah, it's nice just to have some, like, I have conversations with my editor all the time, like, bro, like, why don't we do something like this? What do you have ideas for this? And sometimes he'll do stuff and like he'll just upload it in like how we have our however we do our things on how to upload it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll watch it back and I'll be like, whoa, what was that? Right. And I'm like, dude, keep doing that. And I'm like, fuck, you're gonna have to pay this guy more just to keep him around.
I know. Sometimes it's like I send him my editor like a bunch of clips to do, and like I'm counting in my head. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna cost me. It's like, do I need that clip? Is that really gonna be something that's gonna go viral? Is it worth it?
Yeah. Oh, especially for you. Yeah, I guess it can be. Oh, I mean, I feel like your stuff like takes off every time. I don't know if it's just because you're more in like the news kind of thing, and like just you have a certain like content form. So
yeah, I mean, I stick to, you know, a lot of like what's trending as far as like topics and stuff. So that kind of helps. That kind of like is almost like a little bit of a assistance, I guess, because like I'm already talking about something that people seem to already care about anyway. Yeah. The difficult part does come with like finding out what is the thing that people care about that day, you know, because just because like, you know, just because let's say Papa Roach drops a new song, like that's a big deal to me. I think Papa Roach is really cool. They're a huge band, but like if I make a video about Papa Roach dropping a song, is that really gonna pop off? Or is the news about Ronnie Radke fucking, you know, dousing somebody at a show with something, and is that gonna be the thing that's gonna pop off? You know, it's like, unfortunately, you gotta kind of like, all right, what's gonna, because like you said, like you can't sit there and make a ton of videos. They only have so much time, so you gotta kind of pick like, all right, what's my strategy today? What's the hook today? You know,
I feel like I've messed out on a couple of things like that. Even like Slaughter to Prevail, I guess. Like I was in like a burnout stage at that point. So like it took me like like 2 to 3 weeks just to get on the reaction. And I like hype myself for it. I'm like, I heard it's a really good song. You know, I got to do something big and spectacular. Like I got to light something on fire behind me and break my legs. So yeah. And like, I put way too much pressure on myself, and I kind of realized that. So I just did a live on Twitch, and like, obviously I had a really good time with it, but because I missed, you know, the hype of it, it did okay. And it's still doing pretty good too. But like, yeah, I understand on the whole trending thing, I think is definitely key when it comes to like content creating and growing for sure.
So does that stress you out sometimes? Like if you like, because the reaction channel are so, you know, keyed into what's popular at that exact moment, does it stress you out where you're like, shit, I gotta get something up about this song, like this Electric Callboy just dropped a song, I gotta do something about this week because I know it's every other creator's gonna be doing it, so I gotta do it too. Do you ever feel that kind of like pressure to, you know, react to something?
I do. I feel like it was more when the pandemic was kind of happening and everybody was dropping songs left, right, and center. So when you have like Electric Callboy drop one, and then Bad Omens, and then, you know, Bring Me the Horizon, it's like, bro, can we just chill down? I'm like, I don't have enough time. Plus, I'm pushing out all these other small bands that I need to get out as well. So it's like, it's definitely a stressful time when it comes to that, but I feel like it's a lot better now just because, I don't know, I feel like there's not as many drops, but I feel like with my channel and my brand, I guess, like people know to come to me for like new music as well. So I feel like I do have that little bit of an upper hand where like I can take a second to drop the bigger stuff and still be able to take off and still be able to push the little guys as well.
Yeah, that's what I love about your account. Like especially on TikTok, you've really exploded over the last year, and that's what I love about your content is really hyper focused on the emerging, you know, underground scene of bands, and it's still like you still get views, like you're still doing numbers on it, which is great because a lot of times when a page is focused on, you know, introducing new music, it doesn't really get the attention unless you're talking about the big bands too. So you've really found a way to cultivate an audience that really gives a shit about hearing new music, which is insanely impressive because most people don't give a shit about hearing. I mean, most people say they want to hear new music, but they want to listen to the same 10 bands they've listened to their entire life. You know, it's like only like they have to be tricked into finding something new by like, you know, hearing it on TikTok or in a movie or a Netflix show or something. And you kind of do that in a way, but it's super authentic. Like because like people are stopping to see you being like, what the fuck? Why does this guy have that face on? You know, and like you're hooking them in, and then you're showing them something new. You know, which is kind of like I do a little bit in a different way with you know, pull people in with like, hey, do you love Bad Omens? And like, fuck yeah, I love Bad Omens. I'm like, oh, well, check out this song. I'm like, oh shit, like you know.
Yeah, so, you have the right amount of hook and like in that 3 seconds obviously is definitely that key. So yeah, I feel like Bad Omens comes in, and I feel like I maybe even kind of borrowed, I guess, some of those ideas from you. Like I've always saw yours, and I'm like I really like that, and like I think I started saying like, you know, the female Will Ramos kind of thing. Man, I got a lot of heat for that.
I bet, man. I bet.
So but it works though. That's the thing. It's like to get those smaller bands heard. I feel like we need to use some of these big bands to kind of obviously hook them in a way, and then I mean sometimes I kind of push the limits, but it gets the job done. I know they're good, and I know this fan type is going to love this music anyway. So whether I get the hate or not, and some people obviously like it for that reason, it does wonders for the new bands that are coming up.
Well, you have to, because like again, it's like it'd be no different than somebody walking up to you on the street like, hey, you want to hear this new band? It's like, not really. You know, dude, there has to be a reason. There has to be like something. There has to be a hook, regardless. Like if it's a brand new band that hasn't done anything of note yet, like what is it about them that's going to set them? Especially if they don't even have like a cool music video. If it's just them playing in a fucking colored room or something, it's like what is cool about this band besides the song's cool? Like, so you need to have some kind of hook to bring it. And people are gonna like hate on you, like and shit on your comparisons or shit on your reaction, but it's like as long as they're talking, dude, that's all that fucking matters at the end of the day. Obviously, you know, like if enough people, if everyone loves you and is like saying nice things, then not enough people know about you. You need more people. You need a bigger audience. I like
that.
So how do you deal with the hate? Do you just try any kind of hate comments and mean shit? Do you just kind of ignore it, or do you ever interact with them?
Man, there's days. I feel like there are days where it catches me and I'm ready to lay into some of these people. But I think honestly, like even last night, I think it just had like the most amount of like negativity in my comments, and it was with that Oliver Anthony guy. Have you heard that country song? And it's very,
I saw your reaction.
Very political. And I'm like, fuck, like this is kind of cool, like what he's saying, and like it's popping off too on everybody else's channels. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I think I'm safe to post this up. And as soon as I posted it, man, like left, right, and center, like the whole everyone's attacking everybody. I'm like, oh my god, what did I do? So I was like searching out for advice. I'm like, I've never seen my audience, be one-sided, but I'm looking at everybody else's reactions on TikTok and on YouTube, and there's no hate at all. They're like, this is the best thing ever. This made me cry, and like it's obviously got a lot of emotions. It's gonna pull a lot of people. That's why it's got like 50 million views in like a week and a half. So I'm like, this is crazy. So I mean, last night I was kind of almost like in a meltdown of like, I'm like, is this bad for my image, this and that, and being a content creator now. I figured like it's not, and it's in a weird spot, so I don't know those sticky situations to that extent right now.
It is weird, but I think is in order to get your name out there more and become like more of like the a face in this genre, I think you do have to put yourself in those situations and put yourself in those conversations. Like, if everyone's talking about Oliver Anthony, then you want to be talking about Oliver Anthony too, because you want people to associate whatever cool things happening. You want them to also be like, oh, well, I wonder what Orion thinks about it. That's
true.
What it should come down to. And I think also it probably a lot of the hate comes from because you're a metal focused page. And we know, dude, metal fans can be some of the biggest dick fans out there, unfortunately. There's just something about metal and rock fans. They're just not as nice as pop and hip hop fans sometimes. Because they're so passionate. They're much more passionate about their music than a pop fan is.
But it's weird. It wasn't even about the music. Like I didn't really see much about. Like honestly, I saw a lot of metalheads come in saying like, "Bro, like I don't listen to country, but this slaps." It was very political, left versus right type deal. I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with this.
Do you think this guy's real, or do you think he's like an industry plant, like a lot of people are saying, like the whole conspiracy theory that he's not like really a real actual musician, or he's obviously a real person, but people are saying that like labels or some right-wing stuff planted him. I'm not even sure what the full conspiracy is behind it.
I don't know. I've kind of been hearing a lot of people say, and I'm sure this is true, but like he turned down like a really big record deal or something on that song, about like $8 million he turned down just to kind of keep his own music. I kind of dove in a little bit more into his TikTok to see kind of what he was doing. And I've had like other people say as well, they're like, oh man, this guy is racist and this and that, and I'm like, what did I get and that's another thing, right? So you're going down another freaking hole, and I'm like, oh no, I'm definitely getting canceled now. So it's just like I went down, and like he's promoting his own like local shows and stuff, and he's gonna be playing at Blue Ridge as well. I heard. So I'm like, I don't think he is, but I don't know. What's your take on that? It is a hot take for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's. I don't think he's an industry plant. I don't think he is somebody like that was like put in there by like a label or anything like that. But I don't know. I definitely think. I think there has to be something. I don't know. It's so insane how viral it went. It's just there's something about it. There's just something about it that doesn't like feel right. You know, again, banger song. You know, regardless of like what side you're on, because I've seen people on the right hate it for one reason and people on the left hate it for the other reason. So it's like very polarizing, of course. You know, it gets people talking. It's a pop cultural moment right now. But yeah, there's just something about how fast it happened. It's just like, there's something weird here. Like, I don't know.
I can understand how it could be planted as well. But I don't know. I don't know about him that much, and I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat. But like I looked through his TikTok, and he's got like smaller videos as well where he's just in the forest playing some songs. So I don't know. It could have blown up, but at the same time, it could be the other way around.
Well, the other thing, too, is people like throw the whole term industry plant around like willy-nilly. They're not even knowing what it means. Like, people will be like, oh, that band's an industry plant because, you know, the singer was in another band before that. It's like, well, that's not what that means. Like, just because they were in a band before, like, or a bigger band before. Like, So I think there's a lot of words that people just like, it's a buzzword they hear online. They just like regurgitate it over and over.
Yeah, that could be definitely it.
Is there any style of music or like any genre or any style of video or anything you've done before that like, or you've tried to do multiple times that has just not caught fire with your audience? Like, you're like, I fucking love this. Why don't you guys love this? Like, you keep trying to push it. Like, for me, I love like punk music, like the Gaslight Anthem and the Menzingers, that kind of blue collar stuff. But every time I talk about it, no one gives a shit about it. You know, and I keep trying. Every now and then.
I don't know, man.
Like
I feel like I have a really, I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, like, I like the rap stuff as well. I mean, I would like to get more into the punk rock stuff, and I think might have a road to get down that road and then into a destination. But that's what I grew up on. I grew up on, you know, the Take It Back Sunday, the Green Day, Blink-182, and I think it's still okay to like, because I mean, I listen to a lot of the Emo's Not Dead podcasts as well, and I like how they kind of describe it as like there's like an umbrella of like us. People that like grew up with like My Chem, Taking Back Sunday and stuff like that, but like led us into like Under Oath and those like screamo bands at the time. So I feel like it goes kind of hand in hand. But like if Simple Plan came out with a new song and I dropped a reaction, it would probably only have like 400 or 500 views on YouTube. Yeah. So it's weird because then I could do like NF or, you know, Complete, and people want that stuff on the shorter form content, and that's the stuff that blows up too. And it's like it's kind of hit and miss, but I think I'm so comfortable in doing the metal and even like getting into deathcore, I think is a big step for me, because like I used to hate like Slaughter to Prevail and stuff. So getting into some other kind of content that I want to be doing, I get scared because I'm super comfortable and I know things will go well if I keep doing reactions. But I do have some things planned and the things that I am trying, that I will be trying. I haven't really put them to the test yet, but I think I just have to just keep doing it. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. Are you still doing your podcast?
I did one with Metal Burb not too long ago, and I don't know what it is with the podcast. I mean, like, it's great. I love talking to people. I don't know if it's just the numbers that are kind of like it's not getting as much traction as I want it to. It's not like a Joe Rogan podcast where like, it pops off. But even that, like, you have two of the kind of like mainstream metal reactors getting together around a fire. Like I went all out, brought my whole studio down. And it only has like maybe 1,600 views, and I'm like, it's crazy because we're both under over 100,000 subscribers. But like, not enough of those people wanted to watch us get drunk and talk around a fire.
It is weird. It's a weird, especially because it's different style of content for you. You know, it's not. I'm sure it's not as fast paced. You know, I'm sure there's probably no explosions happening in the conversation. Yeah. So I mean, it's a really weird, because I face the same issue. You know, I have like 500,000 followers on TikTok, and I get like I post a podcast episode gets like 200 views or something. You know, and it's like, what the fuck? It's so hard to convert people over. And like, even like I posted like clips from them, and the clips will go viral. I'll get like 500,000 views on the clips, but then the actual episode doesn't, you know, translate. It's just so hard to convert people over to it. The way I look at it though is I really enjoy it. I love talking to people. I love making the podcast. And I almost just look at it as like a content creation tool. Like, because I'm getting, every time I do these episodes, I'm getting 3 or 4 pieces of content out of it that I'm posting and are going viral. So it's like, if no one goes and watches the whole thing, okay, but at least, you know, I'm doing something I enjoy, and it's still helping me in the long run. I'm still getting my name out there more, and you know, especially it's really great on days where I just like feel burned out and don't feel like making anything. It's like, all right, I'll go with a podcast clip. You know,
it definitely helps as well. Sorry, I was trying to pull up your YouTube. Like, are you using shorts or anything?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, I think there's some new cool things that are coming with shorts, which I think will help us in that way, especially if you can get it to really take off in that sense. But like, I don't know if you heard, but like, they're taking away like hyperlinks in the top pinned comments on shorts.
Oh, really?
But they're integrating, I think, in September, where you can actually like upload your own short and stuff like that, but like link it like engraved in the actual video. Because that's what I find with TikTok, and I thought they're kind of like, I mean, I know it's not YouTube, but this is where they're going to gain on this one. But like with YouTube, you can just jump right to the video from there. So that's why I liked about the hyperlinks, but people don't really go into the comments anyway. They'll hit the double tap like and scroll off. But I think it'll be a really good tool in that sense. That's
good. Yeah, I mean, anything to, you know, keep people on the platform is what they're after, obviously. So it only behooves them to have something like that gets them to stay there and watch the full thing. But yeah, converting that audience, it's tough, man. Because like, again, like you can have somebody that's like a diehard fan of yours and like watches every single video you post, but then when you try something new on a different platform, if it's not the platform they're usually on, they're like, they don't, you know, they're not going to move. They're not going to move.
I get that a lot, man, and that's why I have to like upload to Facebook, to TikTok, and like I get a lot of people saying like, Demolisher by, you know, Slaughter to Prevail. I'm like, bro, it's on my YouTube. And they're like, oh, I don't use YouTube. And then now it's to the point where like I'm trying to get people to come from TikTok with the big audience that we have to come over to Twitch when I do my live stream. So I'll stream both of them at the same time. Like, come over here. I'm like, it sounds much better on Twitch. Yeah, TikTok, get your game going here.
Right.
But yeah, and then, you know, it eventually, but I feel like sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get people to come over to other platforms for sure.
Yeah, I did the Twitch thing for about 3 months, every day, like religiously. And like, yeah, it was getting people to move over from TikTok to Twitch was like, again, like pulling teeth, man. Again, I've got like, I did similar to what you were doing. I didn't, because I know that you had it actually simultaneously streaming to both, which is great. I didn't have the patience to fuck around and figure out the mechanics behind that. So I would literally just put the phone up on me and while I'm live streaming, and I'd be like, hey, if you want to come over here, like this is where the action is, like. And again, I'd have like 1,000 people in my TikTok live stream, and I'm like, and they're watching me essentially do nothing because they can't hear or see what I'm watching. So it's like, man. But they still won't go over to Twitch. Like, no, it's way better over here.
It definitely is. Yeah, I think I started doing that as well. Even when I used to have like sometimes I will have a green screen up because I live in a shoebox here. So like my wife will sit on the couch and she needs to walk around. She doesn't want to be on camera and stuff. So but yeah, like, and I just a green screen with my phone set up, and it would die so fast. But like I had like the headphones hooked up with another set of headphones on top of the microphone, so they can kind of hear something and hear me talk at the same time. But it's a mess, man. But I figured out how to like do it from the computer too. But it's just people like their own platforms. They have certain platforms they like.
Do you just have like an insane amount of gear, like just all over the place now after doing this?
Kind of.
I have way more than I ever anticipated. Because I started out just recording on my phone, you know, just my phone, and I didn't even have a microphone in the beginning. And now it's like, dude, I've got a full fucking studio here. It's insane how many microphones I have, like 3 computers, like all these like stands, like so many fucking stands and lights.
That's hilarious. Like, do you do this at home as well?
I do, yeah. So
okay.
this is like my, we built a house, and I actually built this, specifically this room to be my studio and office, because I got the gig at SiriusXM around the same time we were getting ready to move, so I was like, all right, I need a designated spot to do it in.
That's wicked. That's cool, man. Like, I did have a place as well with a basement studio, but sold it like in the middle of the pandemic because I thought the world was like crashing down.
Yeah,
and then moved into the city with my fiance, and well, this is her condo here, so. Yeah, it's a little bit of a nightmare, and like housing pricing is just ridiculous here in Canada. So you're in California, yeah?
I am not. I'm actually in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, you're not too far at all then.
Yeah, no, not too far from Canada. Yeah, I experience most of the same weather patterns you have too, I think.
True. Yeah. No, I always thought you were like in LA or something for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. A lot of people think I am. I mean, I have a hat that says LA on it. Maybe that's the thing. People always think I'm in LA for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely don't look sun-kissed. That's for sure. So that can't be it.
I feel that, man. We're content creators. We stay inside.
Yeah,
people are so surprised we have legs and hair. Like, it's
right.
like, what? But it's funny. Like, a lot of the people that I do meet at like shows and stuff, and they're like, what are you doing here? I thought you were from the U.S. I'm like, no, man. I'm like, at every platform it says I'm from Canada, but
right.
Nah, it's funny.
Yeah, no, that is funny when I do run into people at shows in Cleveland. They're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I fucking live here, man.
That's cool. But you've been doing a lot of like festivals and stuff. I love seeing your little vlog videos. And how has that been going? I think it looks fun as fuck.
Dude, it's cool, but it's exhausting as hell, man. Like these 3 or 4, because like these festivals are always in the middle of fucking nowhere, and like there's never like any like easy way to get there. I mean, some of them. I mean, so like when we were young was great because that was like in fucking Vegas, like you're right there, and like the hotels all around. But like
that's coming
Incarceration was amazing, but it was like you're so far away, you know. I hate any festival where you have to camp at it. If like that's the like the draw, like, oh, you can camp here. It's like I don't want to fucking camp. Like I want a place I can get an Uber. You know, like I'm supposed to go to Blue Ridge this year, and like it sounds amazing, but it's like, dude, it's in the middle of nowhere. I heard Ubers aren't a thing there, and like I mean, I guess I could stay sober and drive, but like that sounds fucking awful. It's like, what's the point of that, you know?
Yeah, I hear rentals are like stupid expensive right now as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's just Canada
around there.
Oh yeah, see, that's crazy. Like here in Canada, like if I were to go fly from Toronto to like Banff, like Alberta, it's more expensive to rent a car for a couple days than it is the flight there. Like it's a lot of money. So like it's kind of deteriorated me for going out and like traveling in that sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it would be a lot of fun doing the festivals. So I don't go to festivals at all. We don't really have those here in Canada. So
yeah, I was gonna say you guys don't get a lot up there, do you?
No, I mean, unless like Warped Tour comes back or something, maybe they'll hit up at Toronto. But I don't know. I'm curious though. I'm curious about it.
You have to come to the U.S., I guess.
I have to get my passport. I've been like so not getting my passport since the whole pandemic and stuff. I'm like, wait it out so I can cross. And
yeah, I think I need a new one too. Actually, I think mine definitely needs updated.
Yeah,
but yeah, dude, the festivals, they're a blast. Like I have so much fun while I'm at them, like while I'm actually there doing it. But all the lead up to the festival, like all the anxiety of traveling and like, you know, making sure you have everything and like, you know, orchestrating like interviews and coverage and stuff. And I'm sure you can attest to this. Like, it's hard to ever go anywhere and just enjoy things anymore because you're constantly thinking about like what kind of content am I going to make out of this? You know, like
I understand that so well. Like I thought it would be cool. You know, we're getting into shows for free. We're talking to our favorite bands, but yeah, the anticipation of like, okay, I gotta get this, I gotta line up the perfect time for this, and like I've tried to line up a couple of interviews and stuff, and sometimes they just don't pan out because stuff just happens behind the scene, and they're not ready, or they're nowhere to be found, and problems with just like getting all access and stuff like that. But it's hard. I mean, like when we do get these interviews and stuff, like I want these people and our fans to watch our videos, and honestly, it is hard to even land those videos. You have to go through PR agents and stuff, and it's not even like through the label, it's through another source, and it's like, this is a lot of fucking work. I mean, like,
and then God forbid you do it and it gets like 200 views and you're like, what the fuck, all this
wasn't even worth it at the same time, but you had a great conversation with your favorite band, so I feel like it's very you know, take it in as you do it.
Again, like too, like what we were talking about earlier, like putting your face next to the bigger face, like it only helps your brand for people, even if they don't watch your video, even if they just see the thumbnail of you standing next to Alex Terrible or something like that. That's good enough. I mean, it'd be great if they watched it, but even if they just see that, they're like, oh shit, Orion's doing big things, you know, and then they go about their day, but it's in their head like, Orion's doing big things. He's talking to Alex Terrible, even though they didn't take the time to watch you talk to Alex Terrible.
Yeah, it's true. I guess it kind of ups your, I guess, like status a bit.
Yeah, your brand. Yeah, it sells your brand a little bit more, which unfortunately, as lame as it sounds, is something we all have to think about in this kind of content creation game.
Well, even like a portfolio as well, I feel like it's a good thing for that. It's like, I hung out with you know, Alex Terrible. Then you go to the next label and say, look, here's the podcast or something I did with them.
For the next one.
Yeah,
and like you said, at the end of the day, like you get to talk to your favorite musician. That's where it really all comes down to too. Like that's a big, as lame as it sounds, that's a big selling point. At the end of the day, I get to be in the same room and talk to musicians who I idolize, and some of which that I've grown up listening to, like and like do podcast interviews with like I got to interview Jarrett from Bowling for Soup the other day, which I fucking love Bowling for Soup, one of my favorite bands.
I was rocking them the other day as well. As soon as I found out like Matt Cutshall's band Your Broken Heroes like playing with them at the When We Were Young festival, I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I haven't listened to them in years, so I'm like, this is bands. Cool. Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, we're so lucky that we have those opportunities to do that, and it be our job on top of it is really cool. Like, you know, because a lot of people pay serious money just to be in the same room for these people, you know, and then on the flip side, these people want to talk to us, you know, they want to come to our shows, they want to do our interviews and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Yeah, I think like even like, what was it, Bleed From Within, I was just, you know, filming some content for Sharp Tone, and Scott Kennedy would like recognize me while he's like singing on stage. He's like, cool. Oh shit, man. And he stops for a second, lets the band. He's like, bro, I love your videos, and shook my hand on stage. Dude. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. Cool. No, I've definitely been at shows where like I went to go talk to the band or like the singer or somebody, and like they've been like, they stopped me like, oh, can I get a picture? I'm like, dude, I was about to ask you that. Like, what the fuck?
There's a security guard in Toronto as well, and shout out to him. He's awesome. Every time I see him, he's like, bro, can I grab a photo with you? The security guard knows who I am. This is great. There was one time I went to the Under Oath show. I think there was 3 security guards that knew who I was. I was like, what is going on? It's a weird feeling.
It is a weird time where like some, you know, content creators are almost on the same, they're obviously on the same level as musicians before people take this out of context, but like as far as like notoriety, they like, as far as like fans and the engagement they have, is like it rivals a lot of like the musicians that we're talking about sometimes, which is pretty fucking cool. You know?
I agree.
It's a crazy time that like this can like, you can start something in your bedroom or your apartment or your condo, wherever, and grow it to something where millions of people are seeing it every day, and you don't have to even fucking put pants on. Like,
you don't, unless you dance like I do on the camera. Yeah. Those go on my OnlyFans.
Right. Dude, so I know I love your reactions. I love how fucking wild and crazy they are. Are those 100% authentic, or is this Orion cranked to 11?
I mean, like it definitely is. I mean, a little over exaggerated, and I know I've like explained it as well, but like take the slaughterhouse reaction where I jam like 8 hot dogs in my mouth, but like that's the thing. It's like I love thinking about like different kind of content in that sense, and it's a reaction. I've always been a person like going through this journey, and like I just didn't want to be the headbanging guy, and you know, nothing crazy. I can say a couple things at the end or whatever, or pause 300 times just to try to monetize it. But like I wanted to be creative. Like I grew up in a graphic design world. I wrapped vehicles. I've tinted cars, and like I've done signs, banners, and all that. So like I like to be creative and different and stand out. So when I'm like making my videos, I'm like, okay, cool, some camera shakes, some this and that, and like it got to a point where like I started at such a beginning. I started so like at the start there with that kind of stuff. I wanted something more and more and more. So I'm like, how can I take like this to like a Mr. Beast kind of situation where like next reaction is going to be the better one and then the better one. And I think that's where I stalled out on like the next Slaughter to Prevail song that I did. But like I saw, like I like to get creative with it. It's like they posted on Facebook, you know, the song's going to be a ripper. And they had a thing of hot dogs. I'm like, okay, if this song's gonna be great, I'm gonna do something with hot dogs. So I had like a plate of hot dogs on the side, and it just went wild from there. And like even there was like I taped up my whole house, kind of not the entire thing, but like just taped it off so nothing would break. And yeah, just get creative with it. And I like doing that. I think like even today, like I checked out the new Deadlands song with Casey there, and I House of Cards. So I'm like, okay, I got a bunch of cards here. So like, what can I do with cards? So like when the Black Breakdown hit, like I just like smashed the cards up. And I'm like, I know this is going to make a really good thumbnail at the same time. I just don't know where it's going to be or how it's going to explode. And so like it's cool in that sense. But yeah, definitely. And I think I proved this as well. It's like a lot of my stuff is online. Like when I'm doing it on live on Twitch. So, I mean, people see my search history and stuff where it comes out like maybe 2 hours or like while I'm on stream and we get check it out anyway. I feel like that kind of helps, but I don't get like any, you know, like this is fake as fuck kind of thing. But I mean, I can understand when people are thinking that it might not be as authentic as it possibly would be.
So what you're saying is next time you and I are alone by ourselves listening to music together, there's a good chance you're going to smash like a pan of tuna casserole on the ground or something, right? Like that's gonna
No, but I do make those faces for sure. Like I even do it at concerts, and I had this conversation with Metal Burb as well. Like when I'm at concerts, I'm what?
You should do. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You should go to a show and do a live reaction, but like do your normal shit. Like have someone film you and like do like throw fucking cars in whatever. And have the cuts and all that.
That would be awesome. That'd be dope. But yeah, like we even talked as well. It's like we yell at them and we do the woos and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not too far off. And when I'm in the car, man, I'm making faces. The guitar notes and stuff and smashing the china. Yeah, it kind of is the same.
It does come across as authentic. I didn't mean to like say that it wasn't. Like,
I totally get it.
I believe that's you. But it's such a fucking cartoon character. But I think you are that's you. You're an animated guy, man. You have a big love for life and music, and I think it really shines through in your content.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Welcome, man. I'm here to fluff your pillows, baby. My favorite recent reaction you did was there was like a Blink-182 metal cover, and you like poured coffee in your mouth, coffee grounds, and got all over your tongue and shit.
It was, and I almost threw up. That was legit. Like, dude, I hate coffee.
That looked real, man.
And I wish more came out because it didn't look like it, but you could at least see it on my tongue. And I'm like, I look back on the edit, I'm like, that's the thing. It's like, I had the coffee there because I was doing some stuff with Emo's Not Dead, and they sent me a bunch of stuff, and shout out to them. But like they have coffee, and I'm like, I don't have the coffee here. So I know they had a red one, and my wife loves drinking coffee. So I'm like, you know, promotion and stuff. Let's use it in a reaction. I heard the song's got a blech in it. I can get some good coverage for them, and you know, that promo kind of stuff. And when I did it, I was just like, oh no, like it was just disgusting, man. But yeah, like stuff like that. It's like it's kind of planned, but like not when I'm listening to the music and stuff. So
do you have a favorite reaction video that you've done? Something you like, you look back on every now and then, and you're like, dude, that's still a banger. Like, I'm so glad. I'm so proud of that one.
I mean, the Slaughterhouse one is probably still one of my favorites, but like I feel like I try to up every Motionless in White one, so I'm kind of afraid for the new single that comes out or something. And I have some cool content idea if I get to meet up with Chris Motionless to see if he's down for it. Like I think it'd be hilarious to have like a you know that chubby bunny thing that you do with like marshmallows, but I like because I'm known as the hot dog guy from that. I want to do like one with Chris and like see who can do the best blep with like a bunch of hot dogs in her mouth.
Dude, that rules. I like
that would be hilarious. I think it would be down, but I don't know. But I don't know. Like I've done some crazy things. Like there was one time like our cat went for surgery, so we had to like clear out the bedroom and like put her bed on the ground so our cat didn't have to jump up for it or anything. And the match was out here, and I'm like, what can I do with this with content?
Yeah.
So it was like the pale face one where I like literally like crowd killed my chair and like got like this much height of air, and like it was a lot of fun. And that video went out to being like a couple million views on TikTok. And it's just crazy. So like I kind of think of things that I want to do next, but like it has to relate in the best way with those videos. So
for sure. I like to just imagine you like wandering around your house, like, okay, what the fuck can I get destroyed with this video?
I totally do, man. That's the longest part of my content creation. It's like I sit there all day. I'm like, I'm pacing back and forth. I'm having lunch. I'm like, what can I do for this? I'm like, I don't have much in here, but like even that, like in the middle of a stream, I listened to like a Motionless in White song, and there like my dog at the time had just dog food here, and like in the middle of the stream, I went over, picked it up, and just started eating dog food in the middle of it, and it's like, what am I doing? Like
what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, there was the water as well, and then flamethrower. My wife wasn't too happy with that one.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, sure she enjoys the repercussions of you doing this. It's just being your job, but probably not to process as much.
I know.
So what's next? What's on the horizon for Ohrion Reacts? Do you have any other projects that you're working on, or anything that you are game playing, or you're just sticking focus on the reactions?
I do want to do some other content. I have some cool like interview kind of style stuff that I want to do, but like take it to a little bit of the next level. I feel like there are people that have the interviews, and I do want to do those as well, but like I have some things planned that I do want to do, and hopefully some of these bands are up for it. And I do have something else planned, but I'm not it's not that I'm not allowed. I don't know if it's 100% sure that it's going to happen, so I'm like, I don't want to jinx it at the same time, so I'm just very anxious about it, and I'm trying to be creative about it, and like trying to still focus on everything that I'm doing. But like I do have some of those things where I'm just like, oh, I need to do this. But like with how many bands that like I have going out in a week, and the team that I have an assistant that helps me with my emails and stuff, and helps me sift out some of the good songs that, you know, that I will like. He knows my taste so much where it's like, okay, we can do this and put it on the channel, work out some promos and stuff with the bands, and they do very well. So there's like that, and we usually do about like maybe between 9 to like 14 like band videos and stuff to go out on YouTube and TikTok throughout the week. So it's been crazy in that sense. Then a new song gets in the way, and it's like, oh, I'll get it next week, and it never happens. So yeah, it's just I need to figure out the balance there.
It's gotta be tough when you do have sort of like a machine working now to like introduce something new into it. It's like, I want to do this new thing, I want to try this new thing, but it's like trying to fit it into something that's already in motion. Yeah, that's that. Because I mean, I feel there's a lot of content ideas I have constantly that I'm like, oh, I want to do this, but like I know the first time I do this content idea, it's gonna take me the whole day to really map it out and put it together and like edit it, because you know, when you get in the rhythm of like making content, you know, you can make things quicker because you know how you want it to go. But when you start something new, you kind of have to like, you know, fumble with it for a little bit. So it's like, trying to like figure out, all right, do I want to spend a whole day on this new piece, or do I want to just pump out 2 to 3 pieces of something that I know works, you know?
That
can
so
be
true.
tough.
I feel like podcast stuff is it takes a long time to make, especially the way that we edit our stuff. And I've seen yours with the videos popping up and the text and stuff like that. So like even when I showed you the Matt Bevins ones that I did with him, like rocking out with a tree to Beartooth, that took me 8 hours for like not even a 40-second clip, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, can I really do this? So then you get deteriorate, or you kind of like talk yourself out of it, like, oh, it's too much work. I can do like 5 other videos in the same amount of time.
It really is. Yeah, it's definitely a labor of love. Much like I mean, any kind of like content creation avenue when you first start off is obviously going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be a lot of labor, not mostly labor of love, but it's like it's funny because like you would think like you've got a built-in audience, like when you start something new, they're all just going to move over, but like we said, it's still like it's kind of like starting over every time, like no matter whatever path you go down. Like even if you like launch, like I mean, you have your Bleg hats, you know, your merch and stuff. I'm sure those like are selling well, but you're probably like you probably would assume like they would sell better because of like your, I mean, I don't know your sales history, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like you expect every one of your followers is going to want to buy one, and maybe they think every one of your followers thinks it's cool, but they probably don't all buy them, unfortunately. You know?
For sure. Yeah, it's cool like that. Like the blast. Say if I did like an ARF or a Brie thing, and I've had those, but they don't do as well as the blessed stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously it can kind of tie in with that brand, but that's the thing. It's like I know you need to know what your audience wants at the same time, and that's where the bigger songs come in, and that's what they usually want. So I mean, I feel like it's kind of like being on TV, you know, like you see your favorite artist come up on, you know, MTV all the time or something back in the day. It's ingrained in their head, so like now the next time they might see my face, and this is where a lot of content a day kind of comes in handy, and you should know this as well. It's just they see your face and they know it's going to be a really good piece of content or a really nice good song that they're gonna like, because even the comments that I see, and this is knowing your audience, it's like, man, my playlist is legit just from your content. So it's like, it's crazy to see that, and it kind of gives me hope in that way too, where if they see my face on a new piece of content, will it go as well? It depends on the the platform as well. I feel like each platform is very different.
Yeah, different audience on different platforms for sure. Yeah, it's like the same people that are watching you on TikTok aren't necessarily the same people that are watching on YouTube. You know, they could be more negative or less negative. It's hard to say. You know, I was just talking to Jared from Bowling for Soup yesterday. I was on his show, and he was telling me like that people on YouTube are way meaner than the people on TikTok. He was asking me if I agreed, and I was like, no, not a chance. Like people on TikTok are way meaner. Like
I feel like that too.
But that's my audience, you know. So it's tough.
Yeah, especially if you have like a very like one-sided band. Like if you do like you know, Nickelback or something like that, like you know the haters are gonna come out from Nickelback.
Well, Ryan, dude, it's been so good chatting with you. I appreciate taking the time out, doing your best to come and talk to me and hang out.
Thank you so much for having me, dude. It's honestly a pleasure. I'm glad we finally got a time to catch up and do some talk to music. And honestly, man, I think you're doing fantastic with what you're doing. Like I love seeing your news stuff comes up, and like it kind of inspires me to do like that, but like more into like a metal side of things, because I know you're more about the rock, and I'm like, I love it. I need to do it, but all these things get in the way. But man,
I support
you're killing it
if you do it. Dude, thank you. I do my best. Where can we all connect with you at? Where's the best spots to find you?
Honestly, I mean, YouTube. Everything's under Ohrion Reacts. YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, I think, are my main channels. But I do have Facebook as well. And a really cool community growing on Facebook with our Blef brand, which is Blef Nation. I think like we have a page with and this just started, and a shout out to Headbang for Life for helping me kind of keep that up and running. But Blef Nation on on Facebook, and that's got like a good like 35,000 subscribers in the last like few months. It's nuts. Like people that are listening that are content creators and bands, I want to say, get on these social medias and start using them, man. Like there's a lot of growth that you guys are missing out on. So I guess Instagram, TikTok, main things. Yeah.
And just Ohrion Reacts across the board. Reacts. You're a lucky man. You got the same handle.
A funny story with that. Like I was so mad, and I had like 2 accounts on TikTok for some reason. Maybe one was for like with a different email, and I had Ohrion Reacts on that already, and maybe I just didn't use it. And then I made one and finally started using it. And I was pissed off at this TikTok account. I'm like, he stole my name. It's got the same profile pics. And one day I accidentally logged into it. I'm like, wait, this isn't my account. And I looked at the profile. I'm like, I was that asshole that stole my own name.
So you were able to switch it around?
Yeah, I changed it. I'm like, yes, I had them all. But a lot of it was like Orion YT at the start. So anyway.
I had something similar. I got on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now. I got on it like a year ago, and Jesse Lee was taken. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I can't believe like who takes, you know? So I put his Jesse Lee show, and I was like, I went to the page one day. I'm like, who the fuck is this person? You know, it's because it's blank profile. It has no information on it at all, and is made in 2008. I'm like, huh. I feel like I vaguely remember in 2008, and I checked. The only tweet it says has is it says I'm awesome. And I'm like,
that's
definitely something I would say in 2008. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is me. I think I made this in 2008.
What email
can't
did
get
I
into
use?
it. Yeah, I've tried to figure out what email's attached to it. I've tried every possible email under the sun. Like, just out there in the ether, you know, somebody's gonna eventually just take it and pretend to be me, I guess, because I'm not gonna pay Elon Musk $10 a month.
Oh, you pay for that as well? I tried to do that with Instagram.
So I'm not gonna pay him $10 a month. So yeah, somebody can take that old handle and pretend to be me, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Dude, fuck yeah, man. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Cheers.